If you're juggling a busy schedule and you feel like you're doing everything right, but you still can't shave off the stubborn body fat, you might be making these 3 big fat loss mistakes without even realizing it. You've swapped your burritos for grilled chicken, you've counted every single calorie, you've hit the gym more times than you can count, but you still aren't losing body fat. The thing is, it's probably not even your fault. I see this all the time with CEOs and entrepreneurs who want to juggle a healthy life with a busy schedule, and they're usually all making the 3 same fat loss mistakes. But after helping hundreds of men avoid these mistakes and transform their bodies while maintaining a busy lifestyle, I want to show you how easy it is to fix them. But first, there's one thing that almost everyone does that hides the progress they're not seeing. So imagine if you judged a book by how much it weighs, instead of judging the book for its actual content. That sounds a bit silly, right? Yet most guys do this to their own body without checking other metrics that I'm about to explain. One of the problems is stepping on the scale, because if the scale goes down, guys feel happy. If the scale goes up, guys feel unhappy and sad. However, the scale doesn't show how much muscle we've actually gained. Muscle adds weight to our body. And the scale doesn't show how much fat we've lost or gained. Fat decreases weight on the body. And the scale also does not show us how much water our body is holding due to inflammation, stress, poor sleep, fluctuating sodium levels, an injury, or even an illness. The scale also doesn't show us how much food we're actually digesting in the body, let alone how many times we did or did not go to the bathroom in a given day. So there are many factors that impact the scale, and the reality is gravity is not going to change unless you somehow get on a starship and Elon lets you go to Mars. Then you can probably see a difference on the scale from gravity. So we need to combine the data from the scale with other metrics to get the full picture of your body composition. So here are some other metrics that I use with my clients to determine whether they're getting leaner or fatter or just staying the same. Now I get that no one likes to take embarrassing photos with their belly hanging out, but I promise you, your future self will be so proud that you took those initial before photos, because later you'll look back and maybe feel a little bit shocked at how you used to look, and that will push you and motivate you to keep going and stay disciplined on this journey. But please don't do this. Don't take photos that look like this, where you're just holding up your phone in the mirror and getting some weird angles with awkward lighting and distracting backgrounds. It's very hard to spot the little changes along the way, and it's not consistent. Instead, pick a blank wall, and then you can use a chair or a table or a tripod or one of your kids, the missus, whoever, to take a photo of you in the same spot every time with the same phone, the same lighting, and that way you're going to notice your progress much more smoother along the journey, and you will see the changes. But sometimes we can't always see the incremental changes in our photos, which is why it's important to regularly check our girth measurements. And no, not that kind of girth, you dirty dog. I'm talking about our waist, chest, arms, and thighs. And I probably wouldn't recommend doing your calves unless you want your missus to leave you when she realizes how tiny your calves really are. And the ultimate way to measure our body composition and get the full snapshot of our muscle mass, bone density, visceral fat, subcutaneous fat, and our metabolism is a DEXA scan. This is something I get all my clients to do. It's a quick scan that shows us all the important metrics. It's super helpful and it's affordable. I highly recommend it because it's the most accurate and affordable snapshot of our body composition we can get, that you can measure against in the future, that'll tell you exactly what changed underneath the skin. Doing all these steps, it's a bit like having a GPS. It shows where you currently are, your current location, and it helps guide you to figure out whether you're going down the get lean laneway or heading up the gain fat freeway. Using all these metrics I just explained will help you avoid these 3 fat loss mistakes that we're going to dive into right now. So imagine there's a big, beautiful luxury home in the Hollywood Hills that you really want to buy. There's even a Lamborghini in the garage.
Buy a Lamborghini.
You're working hard, you're hustling, and you're saving your money to buy this big, beautiful home. But after 6 months, you realize your savings aren't growing as fast as what you had anticipated from the start. In fact, after a year, your savings have barely grown at all. At this point, it may feel impossible to even achieve this goal and be able to buy this beautiful house until you realize the problem has been holding you back. And that problem being that money was just been pouring out of your account without you knowing, because you weren't accurately tracking all of your expenses. Well, this same kind of mistake happens with guys' nutrition all the time. It's that extra bite of the sandwich, a nibble of a piece of fruit, a handful of nuts, a little packet of crisps, eating the kids' leftovers they didn't finish a dinner, having a few crackers when the missus opens a packet. It's all these little things that are really easy to do and forget about. But then all of a sudden, your calorie budget for the day is busted without you knowing. And then for weeks, your body fat levels just aren't budging. It's the same line, nothing's changing. But it also isn't always the little things, because it's so easy to be 100 or 500 calories off your actual calorie budget for the day. I'll show you what I mean. So let's say you ate a chicken sandwich. And if we want to track that chicken sandwich using MyFitnessPal, here's one way we could do it. We can click on add food, then type in chicken sandwich. You can do this on your phone as well, or the browser, same. So straight away we have a bunch of different options. We've got chicken sandwich, 360 calories, chicken sandwich 290, 440, 340. There's all these different varying degrees of sandwiches. But let's say I didn't know and I just clicked this one because it had a green tick and it sounded correct. Check that, add that to food diary, and boom, Bob's your uncle had a chicken sandwich, 290 calories, fantastic. Don't worry about it till the next meal. Well, not so fast. Tracking it this way leaves a lot of room for error. Let me show you how I would do it and how you can discover whether or not you're under or overeating, which could be holding up the scale heading in the direction that you want. First, we can start with 2 pieces of bread. If you know the brand or you've got a barcode you can scan in, that's fine too. Grain bread. So this one doesn't have a slice, so not a handy option. Let's try this one. Actually, here we go. Grain bread, country grain, 2 slices, 170. That sounds about accurate. Let's add that in. Then let's assume we had 80 grams of chicken breast. It says medium, 4 ounce. Let's see if it gives us a gram option. It does. Grams. Whoa, just bread and chicken alone, we're already beating the first entry. But that's not all, because we also put a tablespoon of butter across both slices of bread. Let's say 2 teaspoons, 1 teaspoon per slice. But that wasn't all. I also had some mayonnaise. Now I'm just doing this really quickly. You could check actual brands that you have, but for the purposes of this example, let's assume we had 1 tablespoon of mayonnaise, and I also had some tomato. Now tomato is not a big deal because you didn't probably eat the whole tomato, but you could just probably put a slice, which in this case is very low calorie, 4 calories. And for a bit of flavor, let's say I wanted a slice of cheese, so I put in a cheese, oops, not slice, slice. Cheese slice, boom. So what I thought was a chicken sandwich turned out to be a whole lot more than what it originally looked like. So you can see how easy it is to accidentally choose the wrong food and potentially be hundreds of calories off the actual food that you did eat. But by spending an extra 30 to 60 seconds, you can easily track the exact calories that you had, or at least as close as possible. You don't have to measure every single crumb, but being within 5 or 10% is reasonable. And if you're in doubt, just add another 50 to 100 calories anyway. Like, it's better to be slightly over than it is to underestimate and think you're in a deficit, but really you've been overeating the whole time. There's also another sneaky macronutrient that can be difficult to detect even when it's hidden right in front of our eyes and secretly blowing up our calorie budget without us realizing. If you ever had a bad accountant, maybe you found out later when you realized how much tax you overpaid. And it could have been a simple oversight right under your nose that ate away at your profits. Now, a similar thing happens when we eat hidden fats that put us into a calorie surplus. And this can happen even if we're eating super strict, super healthy, and we can be eating above our budget without even knowing. And I'm going to show you how. So for example, salads are the go-to diet food for most people, but salads don't guarantee that we will lose weight. And that's because most people don't eat plain lettuce with plain cherry tomatoes and sliced onions. Instead, what I see most of the time is that people are opting with loaded salads, like Caesar salads or fresh poke bowl style salads or Mediterranean style salads. And these all come with a catch. And I'll show you what I mean. So if we break down this chicken Caesar salad here, now chicken is often cooked in oil or butter, especially chicken breast, because it's so lean, there needs to be some kind of fat to cook it with, otherwise it gets really dry. So there's hidden fats cooking in the chicken. Then there's also avocado, which is almost pure fat. Then there's cheese added to the salad, almost pure fat as well. Then there's mayonnaise sauce, which is again, almost pure fat. There's egg yolks, which are high in fat. There's croutons, which are the crunchy little bread things. They're typically fried to get crunchy in some oil or something. And if you're Italian like me, you just throw olive oil on everything for the hell of it. So when you add all this up, it's like adding up all the hidden expenses in your bank account. And you might find that what looks like a healthy salad could be anywhere from 450 to 800 calories, accounting for everything, which could be the equivalent of a McChicken burger or a McChicken burger with fries and a Coke. But this is just one of many examples. Another common example is with beef or steak. Well, 100 grams of rump steak versus 100 grams of ribeye can range from around about 200 calories for the rump or up to 400 plus calories for the ribeye. And likewise with eggs, you can have 3 boiled eggs for 210 calories, or if you have scrambled eggs with added butter or oil and cheese and milk, that could be upwards of 400 calories. So I don't just want to blame salad, I'm just giving you other examples here. But there's still a catch to this, because even if you meticulously tracked and weighed every gram and ounce of food that you ate, which isn't really necessary, like maybe only for a couple of days just to do it once and then figure out what actual portion sizes are. Even if you did that, that still won't guarantee that you will lose body fat unless you also keep an eye on the next mistake that we're going to dive into right now. So I need you just to be a little bit open-minded. Imagine your body is like a car, and every day your car goes on a road trip. So occasionally you have to stop and refill, otherwise you won't be able to get to your destination. And you're always traveling around about the same distance, you're always putting in around about the same amount of fuel. But then when you get to your destination, call it a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, you decide to have a rest day. And on that rest day, you aren't driving around much at all, maybe just a few little quick short trips around your destination, but no long road trips. And the next day, you start the road trip again and you go to the petrol station to fill up. However, there's still a lot more fuel in the tank from the previous day that you weren't doing the road trip. So you try to put in the fuel and you fill it up to the usual amount that you normally do. And as a result, the fuel goes spewing outside the fuel pipe all over the ground. So my point is, this same thing happens with our calorie intake and our calorie burn. You know, you could be eating the healthiest, strictest diet that's ever been known to man, feeling more disciplined than David Goggins himself.
There's only one option!
Only to step on the scale 1 week later and only see a couple of ounces or grams difference. Now here's why that happens. See, if we eat 2,000 calories and we burn 2,000 calories, just assume you're doing 8,000 steps, and every day is the same, then our body fat and weight will stay the same. It's not always as simple, but you'll see what I mean in a sec. But then one day, if we have like back-to-back meetings, then we get stuck in traffic, then we have to take the kids to sports or activities, then we're driving again to go pick up dinner, then we're back at home sitting down having dinner, and then before you know it, it's time to go to bed, and you've only got like 3,000 steps for the day, yet we still ate the 2,000 calories. Well, we did 5,000 steps less than the normal 8,000 that we would get to burn 2,000 calories and keep things at the same level. What this means is that tomorrow we're going to wake up not having burnt off that 5,000 steps of energy. So it's like we're starting the day with more fuel in the tank. So then if we're eating 2,000 calories again, it's really 2,000 plus the leftovers from the day before. So it's more than 2,000 technically. And this is why not equating our burn with our calories over time can take us out of a deficit and cause us to either maintain the same weight and body fat or slowly gain body fat. Even if we're eating healthy, this can happen. This is why it's important to match our food intake with our burn rate so that we know where we need to be in a deficit if we want to lose weight or if we want to maintain, or for the very few people who want to gain, you know where you have how much more you have to eat. As a rule of thumb, 1,000 steps is somewhere between 40 to 50 calories burned. So if you drop 5,000 steps, you would assume somewhere between 200 to 250 calories you did not burn in that day, which means the next day, you're starting the day with an extra 250 calories already in the tank. I call this nutritional accounting. And this little trick helped me transform my own body, even to the point of being able to compete in natural bodybuilding. And my clients do this week after week to keep their metabolism burning off more body fat. And the cool thing is, with this flexibility, they can still enjoy date night with the missus, drinks and lunches with clients or colleagues, even ice cream with the kids. But that's only possible if you are consistent with these steps I've explained and avoiding the 3 mistakes that we've just gone through. But losing belly fat for good and maintaining a lean physique long term isn't just about avoiding fat loss mistakes. If you've tried doing diets that don't work after 2 weeks, or you haven't been able to hit the gym every single day with your busy schedule, or follow or keep up with all the different plans and apps and challenges and boot camps and whatever, the good news is you don't have to. Instead, there is a simple list of 6 science-based habits that I take every client through to transform their body and build those habits to maintain it for life. To see what those 6 science-based habits are, watch this video here now.